Zack. Plagiarism on the CSGO workshop. Chat. I am ready. Let's see what Freaklix has to say.
Last week, CSGO got a new music kit, sticker capsule and weapon case. At least one skin from that new case has contained plagiarized content. The skin in question was the Obdoodle Lord, which looked like this. And now it's been swapped out for the Duality, which is made by different skin artists.
Again, sorry if I'm pausing a lot, but chat, WRL change. I asked on Twitter, most of the people said, nice. I still haven't seen it fully. We have to check it out afterwards in game. I have to catch up on so much, bro. I have to catch up on everything.
But there's more to this story than first meets the eye. And rather concerningly, it may just be a symptom of a deeper problem within the skin workshop, and one that's growing. Plagiarism. Because when there's money on the line, it gives people an incentive to cheat in order to get the upper hand. This whole situation was brought to light by the Danidem on Twitter, who had been tipped off that something wasn't quite right with this entry and remarked on Twitter about just how quickly the Doodle Lord's artist's work had improved in just a matter of days. No one could improve that much in a span of less than a month, he says. Danidem is no stranger to this sort of detective work. As an example, here's another skin made by the Doodle Lord's creator. Check this out. Danidem used to be a moderator for a large online art hub and used to detect many instances of stolen work back then as well. He says,
ouch, that is one-to-one.
At this point they're like Sudokus, which he likes to attempt to beat in under 5 minutes. In this case, with great success. As for the Doodle Lord, it turns out it contains some artwork originally made by an artist known as Vex, who you might know because he's already got 3 million subscribers on YouTube. Check him out here and don't forget to smash his subscribe button. Stolen AWP skin out for another one. This isn't the first time this has happened. You probably already know the tale of the Howl skin. This was in the early days of CSGO, and when this artwork was discovered to have been stolen, Valve swapped it with their own very similar looking design. And
bro, imagine the Howl still looked like this. I don't think it would be at the price that it is nowadays. Lots of nostalgia though, but still, I mean, bro, the new design is so much better, so much better.
Discontinued production of the Howl by putting it in its own special contraband category, causing the value of any existing Howl skins to skyrocket due to newfound rarity. Understandably, they haven't wanted to do this so that's probably why Valve doesn't make contraband items these days. And since then, a few other cases have come to mind where Valve has quietly remedied stolen skin situations behind the scenes, and without too much commotion. There was one time I remember when I was reaching out to all the skin makers to hear their stories, and one of them immediately blocked me and disappeared off the face of the earth. At the time I remember feeling sad, thinking I had offended him in some way, but it later turned out he had
Nah. That is so funny.
Stolen his work, and I guess thought I had rumbled him and had then come to investigate. Valve swapping the plagiarized skin out for a new one sounds like an easy solution, but it isn't without its own problems. For instance, what if some owners of the Doodle Lord preferred that design better, and don't like the new design it's been swapped out for, which they now find in their inventory even though they had no say in the matter? Don't get me wrong, the Duality is an awesome skin, but I'm talking about
it's even worse for people that did invest money and applied it onto the gun. We have that every single time when a skin gets changed. We had it before with I think it was the Team Spirit sticker, right? The Team sticker. The glitter version used to be, I think it was black, and then the color got changed to white. They just changed the color completely after the sticker had been released for quite a while. AKA people already crafted, mostly on white skins to color match, and then all of a sudden all those crafts now just don't work anymore, you know? And same with the Obdoodle Lord, which is now, of course, the Duality. On CSGO Float, it still shows as the Doodle Lord. And now we have people, of course, as well with some crafts that they maybe don't like anymore as much as they used to. Like this one, for example, may have been a better fit on the Obdoodle Lord. Not so much on the Duality. And there's even worse examples.
Personal tastes here. Because real artists can give you real, valid reasons for why you shouldn't prefer the Doodle Lord to the Duality. They can point out that, since it was plagiarized by someone who can't draw, that the result is inconsistent in quality or in style. Or they can say how the new Duality skin is objectively better in these regards, thanks to the skilled artists who worked on it. But all this won't stop some people from still preferring the Doodle Lord.
Chat, the Doodle Lord. If you compare them here one by one, it looks so much nicer, so much cooler. The dragon, like, I love when there's animals on there as well. This is just like a worm god. It's worm god vibes. I don't know. I don't like it as much.
Because art is subjective, and some people will prefer.
And this doesn't look like a pink as well. It's pink rarity. Keep that in mind. The orb duality should be maybe a purple.
Objectively inferior piece, simply because they prefer it, and that's
pink?
Like their opinion, man. But obviously, yes, plagiarized material shouldn't remain in the game, or should at least have some deal struck up with the original artist behind that content. I wouldn't know about all this, because all this would go on behind the scenes. An interesting problem that could occur from swapping skins out is the issue of float values. Float values determine how much wear the skins can have. The Doodle Lord could range between 0 and 0.8, whereas the dualities only ranges between 0 and 0.
Chat, Valve changed the Doodle Lord to the orb duality. On the Doodle Lord, there's a float cap of 0 till 0.8, aka you can get a float of 0.75, for example. On the orb duality, that is not possible. Why? Because it's float capped at 0.7, which means now there are some skins that have been unboxed prior to the change with one of those now impossible floats, right? Because now you can only unbox the Doodle Lord. Now you can only unbox the duality. But none of these floats are now possible anymore. I think Valve already got notified about this. And they said, interesting. Thank you for letting us know. Will they intervene? I don't know. The obvious fix would be if they just change the orb duality float cap to 0.8, aka same as duality. Same as Doodle Lord. But maybe they leave those skins just, in that rare position of them always being the number one unobtainable floats. Would be very, very cool. We have seen things where Valve did fuck up on a case release, for example. We once said, do you remember, chat? This was absolutely insane. A new operation came out, and you could get the Desert Hydra in... Wait, how was it? I think you could get the Desert Hydra in Stat Trek. Even though it's a collection skin, it can come in souvenir from the souvenir packages, and it can come from the collection. Buying it with a star, it can come in normal, but not in Stat Trek. And people actually unboxed Stat Trek versions. They then rolled that back. Yeah, so they put all the Stat Trek ones, made them normal again. Very sad. I remember we talked to a Brazilian guy who unboxed a Stat Trek one, and he was so excited that he just hit the jackpot. He unboxed a Stat Trek Factory New Orb Desert Hydra, and then later on it got fixed, it got changed, and of course it was just a normal Desert Hydra at that point.
7. So it means that of the pre-existing skins that were transformed into dualities, there could be some with float values more than 0.7, which are now impossible to obtain from new unboxings. This could mean that pre-update dualities could become a rare and incredibly valuable commodity for skin collectors. Though, sorry to spoil your fun, but Valve seems aware of this, so don't expect it to remain a thing for too
Saw this, we look into it.
long. And I guess the last concern that Valve might have is that the plagiarizer, from before the time they were caught, had access to sensitive information about the case sales, and now they've been caught and have nothing to lose. What might they do with that information? Valve has guidelines for skin makers to follow. These are all featured in Valve's style guide, and it advises against weapon skins using large portions of solid colours, the usage of full black, or of oversaturated skin designs, due to the unnatural way that these things interact with CSGO's environments. These are not steadfast rules, merely guidelines which can be broken should the artist deem it beneficial for the designs to do so. A skin maker told me that recently Valve has been picking increasing numbers of skins which do violate these guidelines, speculating that maybe they've changed the person who is picking the skins to feature in the game. Of course, all this is speculation, but I do love speculation, and I suspect it drives the skin makers when it comes to planning what they'll make next.
We did see a change, I think, in the type of designs that they accept. The M4A4, for example, as he said, like black things. Do you remember when the M4A4, we reacted to it for the first time? And I was like, wow, the magazine is full black. That is so interesting. That is so different to what we're used to see, especially on a red M4A4.
But skin makers aren't just given guidelines. There are also rules which skin makers must follow.
What is that?
I'll link to this page in the description. But as an example of what it contains, here's one of the FAQs. Question: I made a cool sticker or weapon skin using a picture I found on the internet. Answer: firstly, that's not a question. It's just copyright infringement. Even if you traced it, changed the colours, or don't think anyone can tell, you don't own it and we can't ship it. It'll get removed and you might get a workshop community ban. Just don't do this. Blah 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 blah. Please make your own art from scratch. The AWP wasn't the only skin in the new case to have its origins questioned. The infra for Tamaku is part of a collection of skins where several share similarities with pre-existing artwork. It's not for me to judge, but here is the evidence that has been put forward, showing the skin's designs against pre-existing artwork found online. Even the accepted infra foreskin has come under fire, with the woman's hair bearing a striking resemblance to an image found online from 2016. The skin's maker has remained adamant that his skin designs are 100% his own original works.
Oh, 3 clicks legend for blurring it out and everything.
Has provided sketches to try and prove this, and says that yes, he is sure it is similar, but
because there are stupid people that will harass like for no reason, you know, it's just dumb as fuck. And if you go around harassing everybody, bro, you're just a dumb fuck.
100% the same. And as of making this video, unlike the AWP, the infra 4 remains in the collection, and the battle over what constitutes original work and what is deemed plagiarism continues.
Yeah.
There could be more instances of it happening with other skins featured in CSGO, and some skin makers have expressed their concerns to me that it's sending the wrong message for Valve to wait for DMCAs to be issued from the original artists before taking down suspect content. It might be sending the message that plagiarism is okay, so long as you're not caught, or in this case.
True. Also, on that note, the Obdoodle Lord designer as well already had one skin accepted, which is the Mac 10, the monkey one. What is it called? Monkey Flash? Mac 10 Monkey Flash. This is from the same guy who got the Obdoodle in the game, and there's as well already people found out similarities between the backdrop with the leaves and everything. A very, very close similarity. I can't pull up the tweet right now. I don't know where it is. But he has been called out on this one as well. The skin that he has already in the game. So a whole another debacle with that skin that's already in the game.
It's DMCA'd by the artists who originally made the works. Vex, the artist behind the original artwork on the AWP, who did DMCA the AWP that was using his design, has now expressed his interest in becoming more directly involved with CSGO's weapon skin designs. Besides, his work has already proven itself to be good enough to get featured in the game. He might as well benefit from it. And if you're an artist and think that your work is being plagiarized by a skin that's already in CSGO, and you don't know what you can do about it, then check out this video's description for a link to Valve's DMCA page, which is where you should go to submit your own report. Half of the skins in the new Inferno and new collection
interview with the skin makers. Wait, I kind of want to see this.
Are made by Valve. The other half by 3 lucky community members who kindly spoke with me about their designs.
Who is it?
I didn't want Valve to feel left out, so I offered to interview them as well, but they politely didn't. These collections have been in development since last year, so it's not like a last-minute addition or anything like that. There was a lot of back and forth between the skin makers and Valve, and plans, designs and colours changed numerous times during this period. Cozier worked on 5 of the skins from the Inferno collection, while Nuke contains 2 from Millennia and 12 from Chemical Aliyah. I assume Valve must have liked Cozier's roll cage for mass design, firstly because they picked it back then, and second because they wanted him to make more with a similar rally and old car theme. More specifically, they gave him the task of creating skins with a retro Italian racing style. Believe it or not, Cozier isn't a big fan of motor.
This is the one. So I was curious about the creator of the CSGO Doodle Lord since he has already one skin accepted to the game. And I would not have expected this from someone like him. Had a look at the background pattern for the Monkey Flash Mac 10. Took me 1 minute to find this inspiration. I mean, you be the judge. It's not like the T-Rex changed the colors. It is exactly... I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know, bro. And then probably there's another reference for the monkeys. Like, I mean, apparently everything seems like one-to-one inspired or fucking copied. From that guy.
But his mind immediately went to the Lancia, and not the Lancia, as Jeremy Clarkson pronounces it. Anyway, Lancia was a relatively small Italian company that scored victories against the Audi Quattro, a formidable 4-wheel drive vehicle. If any of you have watched Season 2 of the Grand Tour, you may have seen the episode where Jeremy Clarkson talks about the rivalry between the two companies, and the underhand tactics they used to get the upper hand in rallies. It was my favourite bit of the series, and I totally understand Cozier.
Wasn't there some drama between Elon Musk and those guys? I remember, bro. Didn't they like trash the Tesla and like fake stuff? There was some spicy drama. Do you remember? Yeah, that was sick.
It was my favourite bit of the series, and I totally understand Cozier getting his inspiration from it. So he got to work on the SG553 and dual Berettas, which were meant to be a higher quality than the rest. He based the SG553 off of the Martini racing colours, and with the dualies, he used the colour scheme from this vehicle. Cozier explained the difficulty of remaining faithful to the liveries, but without plagiarising. He had to change the logos and company names, but he knew that if he changed them too much, then the weapons would end up looking like a cheap Chinese rip-off of the vehicles in question. This would do more to upset fans of rallying than it would to please them. It was a balancing act that he spent a long time on. At one point, Valve also asked him to remove the word turbo from the design, but he explained that it was from a car feature rather than a company's logo, and ultimately, it was allowed to remain. The number 25 on the handle was not accidental. It was chosen so that, if reflected on the other side of the gun, it would still read 25.
Smart.
How about that? He also had to design 3 patterns that could be applied to any weapon. He had a lot more flexibility with these than he did with the specific weapon skins, but if anything, he found this harder. How could he portray a retro Italian rally theme in a pattern? Also, being for lower skin qualities, they had to be a little less flashy than his other designs. He made 5 to 10 patterns, but felt they would fall short of Valve's expectations. He really did struggle to come up with anything that he was happy with. It was a month or so before he got back to Valve, during which time he feared he might have been too late.
I hate the check engine.
May have been asked to create skins instead. He apologetically wrote back to them, sorry that he didn't feel he had done the task asked of him. This was the first time in his life that he had failed to think of a design. He was met with silence, and his concerns grew. Later, he proposed that he created a skin instead of a pattern. And Valve said that was a good idea. He had to create a Mac 10, P250 and SSG08 design. He started with the Mac 10, which he sent off to Valve. All they asked him to do was to change the sticker to an Inferno logo. He then made the others as well. You'll notice a checkered pattern on these. This is a reference to the glove skin, Driver Gloves, which he thinks would go nicely in conjunction with these weapons. He'd like to thank Valve and Daniel Boutwell for this opportunity and for taking the time to reply even at unusual times outside of work hours. He hopes the guys at Valve aren't disappointed in him for not being able to think up the patterns. His thinking was that the patterns would be applied to the rest of the skins in the collection, and so his failure to think them up burdened Valve with extra work. Having seen the collection, he's kind of pleased that the MP7 Fade and Bison Candy Apple were featured, as he likes those styles. Over in the Nuke collection, Millennia was given quite a bit of freedom to decide what to do with.
Has there ever been like a guy from Valve from working on CSGO interviewed or something? Bro, I want to talk. Oh man, I would die to have to just ask some questions, man, to the guy that fucking picks the skins or something. They're so secretive though, so secretive. We should write an email, bro. We should write an email. Emails if you don't ask, you didn't shoot your shot. You know, you can't hit a shot that you don't shoot.
The infra A1S and Tech 9.
They're not
he
allowed.
Talked with Valve about doing Bond-style gadgets, filled with buttons and features. In a bit of a coincidence,
Gaben, are you watching right now?
He also turned to cars for inspiration, looking through the older Bond movies as he liked that era's style of CRTs and monochrome LCDs. This went through quite a bit of back and forth between him and Valve. He found the experience a positive one, saying that the feedback and suggestions helped a lot. He learned from this experience that you shouldn't draw stuff on a weapon that should be dynamic, such as ammo counters. At one point his M4 featured a radar gadget, which he removed for that precise reason and because it alluded to being a gameplay device of sorts. Knowing that these skins would make it into the game, he concentrated his time on these and made them extra special. He said additional effort was easy to justify when he knew that they'd be
bro,
featured.
this skin still it's on my mind till this day, bro. One of the coolest lenticular crafts. If you weren't there during, look how many already got crafted, 67. We talked about the skin once the sticker capsule came out. Chat. It is so fucking crazy. I love this craft so much. I think this one as well, though, no? What was it? L? Okay, this chat is tripping on a stack. The guy who donated earlier today, who said, I love watching your stream on Zaza. Same with all of you guys, no? Jesus.
Not that he knew what these skins would be for.
The fuck?
He assumed it would be for an operation or something. By chance, he investigated the control panels on Nuke for inspiration, before even knowing that it was for a Nuke collection. You can see Nuke's influence on the M4 in particular. The suppressor on this weapon was borrowed from his
It's perfect, bro. Control panel as well. It's named control panel. Control panel. The guy has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9 or 8 monitors, bro, and he's controlling he's on a panel, control panel. It's so perfect. It's so annoying, bro. I swear to God.
He said that it fit the style, so why reinvent the wheel? Chemical Aliyah, what?
Did I inspect Battlescard? That's probably the reason why you say L. Watch. After this, I stop with it. If you now say L again, it's just it makes no sense. You're just trying to piss me off. Factory new. Boom. Zack, zack, zack. Even worse. You guys are fucking stupid. Holy shit.
On the patterns for the Nuke collection. This means that she can take credit for random access, coprocessor, facility negative, exchanger, motherboard, mainframe, bulkhead, facility draft coolant, facility dark, facility sketch, and mandrel. That's 12 skins. 2/3 of the Nuke collection. She didn't know what her designs would be used for. The original theme was Secret Agent. But after struggling to think up patterns for it, Valve suggested a new theme, nuclear power plants. I wonder what that could be for. With this new plan, she got to work researching iconic imagery that people would associate with nuclear power plants, and then found a style that complemented a repeated pattern and limited colour scheme. She didn't know which weapons these patterns would be used on, but since patterns are generally reserved for lower tiered skins, she kept the colours muted in most of the designs, but threw in a few patterns with more vibrancy. For each pattern, she submitted 3 to 4 colour variations to Valve. When you submit a pattern texture, you separate it into 4 different colours, so you have red, green, blue and alpha, which is normally used for glossiness or wear. This is when Valve took over, deciding which skins should be used on which weapons, and even what colour the pattern should be, which in some cases was different from the designs originally submitted. You can view the collections in their entirety in the videos that I've already released, where I briefly talk about each of the designs. Thank you to Cozier, Millennia and Chemical Aliyah for taking the time to talk to me.
And Valve?
For being cool with it.
How do you even figure out who is the guy behind all this, bro? Oh, imagine talking to one of the people, man. I would have so many questions.